do coffee. Tea is my version of it.
I think there might be versions of tea that have it in it, but I think
oolong has some.
Maybe,
and now I just want to go make some oolong tea while you read this.
All right, I'm also reading the drop-down menus too, correct?
Which drop-down menus?
There are two. Oh god, there are two drop-down menus. Archived containment procedures.
Oh, I guess. One second.
And journal excerpts from Emperor Sanjo.
If you would like. There we go.
Might as well just get. Okay. Yep, I'll do it.
All right, so I'm gonna step away to go ahead and get a drink. So Mike's gonna read you guys an SCP. I'll be right back.
Okay. Let's get this started. Item number SCP-3507. Object class Thumile? Crossed out neutrali. Special containment procedures. The corpse of SCP-3507 is to be held in Deep Storage Warehouse number 32-T in Site-46. SCP-3507's weapons and armor are to be transported to the Site-36 Non-Anomalous Storage Department. MTF Row 15 Smooth Samurais are assigned to terminate all Y-Class entities using the Tier 5 transdimensional kinetoglyphs developed by research team TGU-23. Okay, and we are going to now read the archival containment procedure. Archived. Foundation personnel are to organize festivals centered around ancestor veneration in local towns where SCP-3507 is known to traverse. The use of classical costumes during these festivals has proven to generate less suspicious for anyone that identifies SCP-3507 from afar. Due to SCP-3507's substantial ability to terminate Y-class entities, no Foundation personnel is permitted to halt SCP-3507's movements. Air-based drones are to track the movements of SCP-3507 each night and to note any deviances from SCP-3507's normal travel pattern. MTF Row 11, the Smooth Samurais, are instructed to be located in the vicinity of SCP-3507 and immediately intervene in events where civilians come into contact with SCP-3507 or a change of behavior is noted. MTF Row 11 is also to analyze and record actions of SCP-3507 for the use of research team TGU-23, headquartered in Site-46. Creation of such technology that will allow for interaction with Y-class entities is of the highest priority as to lessen the reliance on SCP-3507's capabilities. Description: SCP-3507 was a semi-corporeal human male of Japanese ethnicity and appears to have been approximately 20 to 30 years of age. SCP-3507 manifested at 2000 UTC in the proximity of disused Taoist religious shrines. SCP-3507 was most often found traversing forests in rural areas in Japan. SCP-3507 had a migration sequence which included the circumnavigation of mainland Japan at a pace of once every year. SCP-3507 was dressed in late Heian period armor known as Oyorio. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. The armor is made up of thousands of individual leather scales, which are bound together through an intricate network of bamboo threads. The armor was covered in a thick layer of tree resin and salt. Over the armor, SCP-3507 usually wore a wool coat. SCP-3507 carried a sheath on its back, which contained an odachi, which is in a style reminiscent of swords created during the Yeiyao period. SCP-3507 only uses odachi whenever it encounters and attempts to terminate a Y-class entity. SCP-3507 occasionally traveled to hotspots of Y-class entity activity, such as ways or areas with naturally occurring dimensional portals. The main goal and desire of SCP-3507 was to terminate all Y-class entities. In traditional literature, Y-class entities are often referred to as yokai. Y-class entities are created from a manipulation in reality that is caused by negative human emotions and an extremely high Hume level. Depressive or melancholic thoughts or actions that occur near areas that are relativistically unstable allow for a subtle restructuring of concurrent reality in the local area. Most often, this reconstruction occurs in relation to the base emotion that caused the spatial shift. It is currently unknown if the reality shift completely creates the Y-class entities or is modifying existing objects/animals into becoming new Y-class entities. An example of this Y-class entity, H, which is colloquially known as the Shirogami, which is manifested by extreme depressive moods and is seemingly created from the transmutation of a Alaph Climacophora, commonly known as the Japanese rat snake. Due to the varied circumstances of Y-class entity creation, there are significant differences in both appearance and constitution. However, two similarities exist between all instances. The first is that all Y-class entities are incorporeal. Thus, no tangible weapons or containment devices have any impact on their movement. The second similarity is that the only way to identify a Y-class entity is through positron emission topography. Positron emission topography creates images through discharging gamma rays and graphing the reflecting image. Y-class entities are normally completely invisible to humans. However, a select few individuals who are afflicted with blindness are able to sense the presence of Y-class entities. This, however, entails no containment risk due to how the perceived encounters with Y-class entities only produce common day occurrences, such as gusts of wind or feelings of paranoia. SCP-3507's main anomalous capacity manifested in its ability to interact with Y-class entities. An increase in Y-class entity creation in the past 40 years has necessitated the assistance of SCP-3507's actions in the prevention of Y-class entity propagation. Containment of Y-class entities was under the jurisdiction of the Imperial Japanese Abnormal Matters Examination Agency, IGAMEA, till their dissolution in 1945. During the intervention of the Foundation after the suspension of IGAMEA activities, it soon became apparent that significant and, at the time, impractical thaumatological resources were needed in containing the Y-class entities due to their unique composition. Thus, it had been decided that SCP-3507 will contain the majority of Y-class entities, including those in the A to Y subcategories. Due to the nature of the creation of Y-class entities, SCP-3507 sporadically came into close proximity with humans. Whenever SCP-3507 noticed that it was being viewed by another individual, it would phase through the surrounding area and relocate. One exception, however, were individuals who were afflicted with blindness. SCP-3507 had exhibited an affinity for those individuals and did not relocate when they were near. The following excerpts are the surviving journal entries of Emperor Sanjo, the 67th Emperor of Japan. The period in which these journal entries were written corresponds to the date in which SCP-3507's armor originates from. The journals displayed the first mention of Y-class entities in the historical record. The circumstances of the period depicted in the journal are hypothesized to have been caused by the tumultuous reign of Emperor Sanjo. The burning of Osaka Castle during the Tokugawa shogunate destroyed the majority of the records of palace records and documents during the Heian period. They have been translated and transcribed by Foundation linguists. Emperor Sanjo was forced to abdicate his throne on 2/7/1017 and died later that year. And now we have journal entry.
Where are you?
I just started the journal entries tab.
The journal excerpts?
Yep.
Okay.
Ichinagi and Masako were instantly on delaying the Gametokatsu clan's ascension ceremony. At the same time, that accursed fellow, Fujiwara Kane, was again asked me about my eyes. That wretched fool must have asked Kunushi, Hisahiro, of my recent complications. In insolence of the rural clans knows no end. This tied with the unnerving feeling that has been hounding me since seems to be an unpleasant omen. It is a very subtle presence like that of a ring of the temple bells from Suganamu Temple. Distant yet close.
You sure you're able
Fire
to do it?
people.
You want me to take over?
Yeah, no, I'm good. Actually, do you want to do the excerpts? Because I've been doing the main one.
Yeah. Ordered the Taoist monk, Okayama, to my chamber today. Once I explained my quandary to him, he suggested it could be that I am sensing Tao. What a wonderful thought. But I know this feeling is not that. Tao is the essence of life. This feeling is more disjointed and flawed. The only one who is making my sight more of a worry for me is my son. I have failed to raise to him properly, and I hear his mother weep at night. What successor can I possibly leave? How will the clan survive if he is leader? Just last week, he had to flee the battlefield during the fight with Ishibaya. So many nuisances. Naidajin Kazenboro openly called for my abdication, all because of my sight. I could not bear to hear the disgusting lies he's spewing. Him and his followers were executed on the spot. The Fujiwara clan is becoming insufferable by the day. The massacres in Shikoku should not put a halt to any rumors of relinquishment of my throne. As long as I am on the throne, no harm shall come to. It's getting worse and worse. I can hardly see my son's face. He has still yet to learn how to lead the clan. My treacherous ailment needs to be cured. I cannot even sleep at night. Whispers coming from the window and intense pressure bar me from sleep. There is something in the night, and as my eyes weakened, it grows stronger. Lowest crop yield in 50 years. The rebellion in Hakata has been wiped out, but not because of war, but because of famine. There is much suffering, even in the provinces as close as Honshu. The execution of General Shigakatsu has set half the court against me. Of course, they openly say nothing. It is as if I can feel their dark curses and emotions slither against my back. Jealousy, cowardice, resentment. When will hired dozens of Amyoji in secret. The kingdom must never know of the burn marks cover the kanji, lurks unseen. Sometimes I wonder, am I mad, or is it true that am completely sightless now? Writing will become burdensome, and I have to rely on only a few of my senses. I will need to keep my blindness a secret from the court. But that is something that seems to be impossible to me. The presence haunts me in the day now. It is almost as if I can touch it. It is near and is. SCP Foundation was based off Georgia? Huh? Them peeling my skin and crushing my bones. But when I look, there is nothing there and no injury. A piece of my room came crashing down, almost killing me, and it is as if my bones started to shake. I felt the shape like a massive man. Later, they told me it had to be because of a structural failure. But I know the truth. I felt the unintelligible handwriting. He is so pitiful, my son. 1,000,000 prayers beyond to him. Helps me perform my duties every day. The only reason court had attempted to get rid of me is my son, and the way he is so unfit to rule. The only happiness I felt when I lost my sight was not being able to see my one regret. Though he disappoints me constantly, at least he attempts helps his elders. One day I hope to regain my previous honor for you, my unintelligible handwriting. Thanks. Worked against some of the officials and quarterers, however many unintelligible handwriting. There are many of these demons. Every day I feel dozens. Down every hall and corridor they wait. I feel their depravity and corruption. No eyes need see them for their destructive potential. Yet, when I reach out, I find nothing in my hands. I have much time for introspection, and I am thinking about my successor. Even though I may criticize you constantly, I only want the best for the clan. I will never tell you my true feelings. There must be some way to rid the world of these. Came to me today, war. How he came in, I do not know. The court-controlled guards nearly tripled in ranks after the door was closed. I know that for sure. But he somehow came through the wall, or maybe the window. Nobody was in the room, so how could this happen? He told me all I need to do to purify the empire of these creatures is to give him my prized possession. I do not understand. I repeated to him that gold and silver are nothing. When it comes to protecting the citizens of our kingdom, for I know it's not only affects me, but an ukiyo-e master to the palace. I told him in private what I felt and witnessed. Every night for the past 9 nights, I have described every single spirit I have felt, what they do, and how they make me feel, so they can be remembered in the future and avoided. I can only tell a select few that I see them. The kingdom is growing more fragile, and my successor is not. Figured it out. My most prized possession is I begged him, asking if there was any other way, but he remained quiet. He said he would, and bring him back to me, trained and ready to exterminate them. One question pervades my mind. The fate of the Japanese people, or left, and I gave him a piece of the royal tsurugi, hidden away in the underground chamber, is my personal armor covered in heavenly crystals. I hope that you remain alive to save the eternal that throne. By destroying these abominations, you bring the family the highest honor that the divinely anointed guardians. I wait for you know to rid. They might have wanted to check the writing on this. Do you want to take over, or you want me to keep going?
I can take over. So we're through that. So now it's the interview.
Yep.
Interviewed SCP-3507. Interviewer Dr. Sunesaburo. Forward. Dr. Sunesaburo was instructed to interview SCP-3507 in a casual manner so as to not cause any unnecessary agitation. Dr. Sunesaburo spoke in Old Japanese, and the translation for both Japanese-speaking and English-speaking personnel are transcribed below. Dr. Sunaburo begins walking down the same path as SCP-3507 as determined by drone tracking. Approximately 5 minutes later, SCP-3507 begins to walk about 5 meters away from Dr. Sunaburo. Good morning. Pause for about 30 seconds. The weather is surely pleasant this evening.
Yes, indeed.
I am surprised you understand me. The last time this language was commonly spoken was nearly 800 years ago.
Language, like emotion, comes and goes like the wind.
Such is the way of all life, it seems. Pause for 30 seconds. What are you doing this evening?
Why are you talking to me? You obviously know what I do. Most never notice my presence, or simply ignore it.
My friends and I are interested in what you are trying to accomplish. It is very helpful and interesting to us.
I see. Our interest unknowable.
SCP-3507 grimaces.
Men who want to control the unnatural and forbidden. If that is who you are, then there is nothing else to say.
No, our only goal is to protect. We do not wish to exploit, as some have done in the past.
So you are like a guardian. My master was a guardian, like me, and apparently so are you. The sanctity of life is the highest goal to a guardian.
Was it your master who taught you how to fight?
Well, he did help me with something. It was mainly my father who taught me how to sword fight. He was very used to combat. He fought many opponents, killed many people.
Is that something that you are against?
I understand the commitment that my father had to the clan's well-being, but I wish to move past the violence that has engulfed millions throughout our land's history. I promised my master that no harm would come to anyone because of those vile creatures. I have staked my pride on it.
Give me a sec for water.
Take your time. I had to go turn on my light. So hopefully you guys are enjoying this. We're gonna be doing probably 2 or 3 tonight, and then maybe we'll do one next, or do a couple next week, and we won't do all of them, but we will cycle through a couple of them since we do owe you guys for last month. Thank you guys for your donations this month and your subs. And I'm just gonna say a lot. We will do this next week on a Saturday. I had to go out get some supplies for the pets this Saturday, so I didn't get to do the day stream like I normally do.
All right. Was your master the one who taught you to interact with creatures that you get rid of?
He was the first to tell me of the world beyond the veil. At first I thought it was just the ramblings of my old father. In the last days I was with him, he discussed many things with me. It was my master that taught me to see and hear for them. You know, I am only comfortable in front of those who are blind. Remind me of him.
How did you come to meet your master?
Well, he came when I was only a child. He was the one who taught me how to access my true self. He was part of an organization that protected people.
Pause for about 1 minute. SCP-3507 breathes in.
This fragrant wind reminds me of my home. It was a remarkable home adorned with gold, silver, cherry blossoms. All the comforts one could want. Was your home similar?
Similar in feeling, but different in style. I grew up in a rural village named Kitashiobara near Fukushima. I lived in a modest home, and my parents were farmers, but the mountain breeze and the vast forest made it equal to any place. Pause for 20 seconds.
Over my travels, I have learned the importance of a peaceful environment. I know firsthand that an agitated environment is about trouble, physically, mentally, for the world that lies beyond.
It seems you know much about this hidden world. Why are you intent on exterminating the beings that exist there?
Because they are an antithesis to my being. What difference is there between my father and these creatures?
SCP-3507 shakes its head aggressively.
Both manipulate and kill with no regard and only to satisfy their own goals. If I am to say that I am different than my father, allowing the creatures to exist to flourish in their madness is tantamount to the ignoring my ideals. Without ideals, what is the difference between us and them? If I am to live, I must abide by my own code.
It seems you have okay, they put that twice. It seems you have learned much about the creatures over time. How exactly do you interact with them?
I can only reach this other world by moving within the wind and earth, by aligning my body with the virtuous actions and cleansing my soul of baneful sentiment. I only wish to accomplish that which brings me closer to honor. This is the only way to fight them, to counteract their hateful creation with ultimate devotion.
Devotion to who? Due to the wind wrestling, SCP-3507 does not hear Dr. Sunesabaro and continues answering the previous question.
You seem to want to learn how to bring peace to the land? I will tell you.
SCP-3507 voice starts to continually raise in volume.
Start with the loving, something that absolute indignation. Let the feeling overcome you. Its intensity will allow you to reach transcendence as it has me.
At this point appears to flicker and then fades into the ground.
Sounds like cult talk to me. Want me to do
Probably.
incident A5?
It's just a couple paragraphs. I can burn through that.
Okay.
Incident A5. The acute and widespread lack of resources in post-World War II Japan caused an extreme hunger crisis throughout Japan. This led to an intensification of Y-class entity activity and capability during the period. On September 8th, 19 blank, SCP-3507 went to the town of Shirakawa in the Gifu prefecture, which at the time was completely taken over by Y-class entity A, which is colloquially known as a Tengu. For more information on Y-class entities, Entity A's size and combat proficiency, please refer to Y-class Entity Elimination and You by Dr. Isaruko. By the end of the confrontation between Y-class Entity A and SCP-3507, there were 17 civilian casualties due to collateral damage. Approximately 2 days later, SCP-3507 was found dead on the roof of Osaka Castle. The cause of death has been determined to be suicide, as the autopsy into SCP-3507's corpse has shown that its injuries are consistent with that of seppuku, or ritual suicide by disembowelment.